Donald Trump, and there's more and more reporting to this effect. He's really just looking at his ratings for his, little show he does every day, which is, not unlike the other shows that are on television that are also fictional, largely fictional. And apparently he's getting a little mad because his co-star, Dr. Fauci, is getting better reviews than he is. And so the reporting was that over the weekend, he spent a lot of time asking people around him, like, what do you think about Fauci? Like almost like looking for someone to give him the idea you should fire this guy, which is a terrifying thought at this point. Here is Donald Trump saying he wants to reopen the economy. What is this based upon? Obviously, there's a need to get things going, but it seems every single expert that I have read, the first thing they say is we need testing capacity. For some reason, there are other countries in the world that have been able to roll this out. We seem totally incapable of it. And now there's reports of the swabs that they use are starting to suffer shortages. We need to have testing before we get back to any semblance. It's not going to be normal, any semblance of normalcy. But Donald Trump has another plan. It's sort of like that secret plan to win Vietnam. Here is a clip of Donald Trump on Friday at his White House presser, I guess.
Obviously, a lot of interest in how you're going to make that decision. What?
That's a very big decision. I don't know that I've had a bigger decision than that. When you think, right?
I would think.
I mean, think of that decision. Somebody said it's totally up to the president. I saw this morning. It's totally up, and it is. I don't know that I've had a bigger decision, but I'm going to surround myself with the greatest minds. Not only the greatest minds, but the greatest minds in numerous different businesses, including the business of politics and reason. And we're going to make a decision, and hopefully it's going to be.
Pause it for 1 second. They're asking, like, how are you going to go about make this decision to open up the country? Now, look, the reality is Donald Trump can get up there and say the country is now open for business, but he doesn't really have any authority other than guidance to offer. The states have been issuing these pause orders, and they're the only ones that can basically roll them back. But he's been talking to leaders of the business of politics and reason. And what will he garner from all these people? Well, we're going to find out.
Numerous different businesses, including the business of politics and reason. And we're going to make a decision, and hopefully it's going to be the right decision. I will say this. I want to get it open as soon as we can. We have to get our country open, Jeff.
Can you say, sir, what metrics you will use to make that decision?
The metrics right here. That's my metrics. That's all I can do. I can listen to 35 people. At the end, I've got to make a decision. And I didn't think of it until yesterday. I said, this is a big decision. But I want to be guided. I'm going to be guided by them. I'm going to be guided by our vice president. I'm going to make a decision based on a lot of different opinions. Some will maybe disagree, and some I'd love to see it where they don't disagree. Will there be risks? There's always going to be a risk that something can flare up. There's always going to look at what's happening where countries are trying to get open and there's a flare up and they'll go. But I'd like the flare-up to be very localized so that we can control it from a local standpoint without having to close.
Before we get to the substance of what he's talking about, which is that he doesn't know what the word metrics means, and doesn't seem to have any type of benchmarks that he's willing to share with us, which I imagine is just simply polling. Can you imagine if we were in the throes of a pandemic and what will be a huge economic disaster for the country if Barack Obama came out wearing a pink tie? I may be a little bit sensitive to it only because back in the day, Rush Limbaugh would complain about the wussification of America as indicated by Dick Durbin's pink tie. And we had a caller who called in about Dick Durbin's pink tie. And this was the type of issues at the time that would dominate the press for like a day or two. Barack Obama's tan suit. And this guy is wearing festive ties in the midst of his TV show. I don't really care, but it just I don't know why I couldn't help but notice that. But the idea that the metrics are all in his head, he's not going to share them with us, or they don't exist. And he only thought about it yesterday, that this is a big decision. This is his way of saying it's my decision to make. I mean, this is all totally marketing for him. This is all about creating an image where he's got the whole world on his shoulders and I can handle it. And they've coached him well to say now, like, take the advice of these other people. But I'm not convinced that he's not trying to intimidate those other people. It's time for you to get on board with my idea of when we should open. What are the metrics? Whatever I wake up in the morning and think like, what's happening in terms of my reelection? I mean, at one point, he is going to make the determination that it's all or nothing. It's Trump or bust. And he's going to say, like, if I can't get the economy going now, and then I'm going to lose. And if that's the case, I'd rather lose trying than not. And the trying is going to be, in other words, with the risk of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100,000 deaths, maybe more. I don't know. So Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen,